I call the Norton City Council regular council meeting for Monday, February 10th, 2020 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Here.
Mr. McClone?
Here.
Mr. Carrot?
Here.
Mr. Towsley?
Here.
Ms. Whipke? Mr. Pilot?
Here.
Mr. Kernan?
Here. Communications from the public. When your name is called, please step forward, give your name and address to the stenographer, and you will have 5 minutes to speak. We will begin with Audley McGill. Mr. McGill here.
I don't believe he signed me in.
Bill Kramer.
Hello, my name is Bill Kramer. I'm visiting from Cincinnati. I always like coming up to this area where people wave at you with all 5 fingers. It's a nice community. Mr. Fowers can introduce me. I'm actually working with the fire departments trying to see ways in which they can cooperate more greatly. So, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Lino.
Jim Lino, 5058 Grove Avenue. I've seen ordinances come and I've seen ordinances grow here and there. The one thing that I can't figure out right now, and makes absolutely no sense, was how did this sidewalk thing get passed back in 2004? It don't make any sense to me at all, and it hasn't been enforced since day one, and that kind of speaks for itself.
Thank you. Under Committee of the Whole, reports from standing committees. Reports. At this time, I will acknowledge the budget reports for January of 2020, consideration of minutes, the minutes of the regular council meeting of January 27th, 2020. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those? Hearing none, they will be accepted as submitted. The minutes of the committee work session of February 3rd, 2020. Are there any deletions, additions, or corrections to those? Hearing none, they will be accepted as submitted. Reports from officers, boards, and commissions. Mayor Zita.
Thank you. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Fowler.
Just have a couple of items of note. Just a reminder, we are currently looking for summer employees for our parks and maintenance department. We're taking applications through probably the middle of March. We'd like to have all those positions filled by before the season starts, obviously. Road projects are all out for bid, Medina Line and the annual road program as well. Mr. Kramer introduced himself. He's from Kramer and Associates. He is the one entity. We are working with Barberton on the study. Provide the contact information for council so you all can provide some input to him when you feel it's appropriate. And then one last point of note, today I got a letter in the mail from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. We have been selected to receive $128,000 for our trail program for the park. While it says don't start the construction, we'll be finalizing all the paperwork there, but we were awarded the $128,000 for our trail project. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Messner,
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Mr. Markey.
Nothing this time, thank you.
Thank you. We have public hearings up next, but I think we have to wait until 7:15. Were those advertised at 7:15?
At about,
That's
at about 7:15.
We'll go ahead and move into introduction of new legislation and get some of those readings out of the way, and then we'll come back to the public hearings. We're going to skip resolution number 23 for right now, since the public hearing on that is this evening, so we'll come back to that one. Resolution number 24, 2020. Ms. Whipke?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a resolution, as I said last week, this is boilerplate. We need to get this waived as soon as possible, get this passed. It was actually due today, but we can send it in tonight or by morning in order for us to collect the taxes from the county. And just for everybody's information, we did reword the final sentence or so in section 4 to make sure that it would be good and legal as soon as the mayor signed it as an emergency, as opposed to where it would have taken 30 days. Is there any questions?
No.
If not, I motion to waive the second and third readings on Resolution 24, 2020.
Wait.
Oh, offer? Okay. I motion to offer it for the first, why would we have to have, okay,
You have to have a reading.
thank you. I motion to have the first reading for Resolution 24, 2020.
A resolution requesting the county auditor to advance taxes from the tax year 2019 collections payable in 2020 pursuant to Section 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Now, if there's no questions, I motion to waive the second and third readings.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to waive the second and third readings of resolution number 24, 2020. Is there any discussion regarding waiver of the readings only at this time? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
At this time, I motion to adopt Resolution 24, 2020.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 24, 2020. Is there any further discussion regarding adoption? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance number 13, 2020. Mr. Towsley?
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer ordinance number 13, 2020 for second reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a 2020 Dodge Durango for the police department at a cost not to exceed $30,818 and declaring an emergency.
That's a second reading only.
Thank you, Mr. Towsley. Ordinance number 14, 2020. Mr. Towsley?
And I offer ordinance number 14, 2020 for second reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a 2020 Dodge Durango for the police department at a cost not to exceed $23,818 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. That's a second reading only.
Thank you. Resolution number 15, 2020. Mr. McGlone?
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer resolution number 15, 2020 for its second reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
A resolution confirming the appointment and reappointment of various individuals to various boards and commissions in the city and declaring an emergency.
Second reading only.
Thank you. Ordinance number 18, 2020. Ms. Whipke?
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer ordinance 18, 2020 for its second reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a New Holland model Power Star P PS75 tractor and equipment for the service department at a cost not to exceed $77,065.
Second reading only.
Thank you. Ordinance number 19, 2020, Mr. Gaynor.
Yes, I'd like to offer ordinance 19, 2020. Ask the clerk to read it, please.
And ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel number 46044712 in the city from a B1 district to an R1 district.
Thank you. Second reading only.
Thank you. Ordinance number 20, 2020, Mr. Gaynor.
Yes, I'll offer ordinance 20, 2020 for its second reading. Ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel numbers 4608,000, 4608,001, 4608,002, 4604,438, 4604,439, 4603,581, 4602,627, 4608,436, 4608,662, and 4603,582 in the city from an R1 district to an I1 district.
Thank you. Second reading only.
Thank you. Ordinance number 21, 2020, Mr. Gaynor.
Yes, I'll offer ordinance 21, 2020 for its second reading, please. Ask the clerk to read it.
An ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel number 4602,907 in the city from an R3 RPC district to an I1 district.
Thank you. Second reading only.
Thank you. Ordinance number 22, 2020, Mr. Gaynor.
Yes, I'd like to offer ordinance 22, 2020 for its second reading. Ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel number 4604,174 in the city from an R1 district to a B2 district.
Thank you. Second reading only.
Thank you. Ordinance number 136, 2019, Mr. Pilat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer ordinance number 136, 2019 for its third reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance establishing a tap-in benefit charge for water and sewer in accordance with the proceedings related to the Cleveland-Maslin Road Water and Sanitary Sewer Extension Project and declaring an emergency.
This time I move to adopt ordinance 136, 2019.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 136, 2019. Is there any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Pilat?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carrot?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance number 1, 2020 falls to me. I offer an ordinance number 1, 2020 for its third reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of donated land by David W. Bramley to the city of Norton and declaring an emergency.
This time I move to adopt ordinance number 1, 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 1, 2020. Is there any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carrot?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pilat?
Yes.
Resolution number 3, 2020. Ms. Whipke?
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer Resolution 3, 2020 for its third reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
A resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the Ohio Public Works Commission for financial assistance through the State Capital Improvement Program and the Local Transportation Improvement Program for 4 projects in the city of Norton and committing to provide funding for the local share of each project and declaring an emergency.
This is for 4 separate projects within the city of Norton. We're just looking to get funding to help us out with that. This time I motion to adopt Resolution 3, 2020.
A second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 3, 2020. Is there any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pilat?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carrot?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance number 5, 2020. Mr. McGlone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer ordinance 5, 2020 for its third reading. Ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to amend the chapter 258.04, Holidays of the Codified Ordinances of the City.
I move to adopt ordinance 5, 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 5, 2020. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, just real quick. It's just one employee that wasn't getting the holiday pay, and we thought it was fair that everyone got it, so that's why we made this change.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance number 6, 2020. Mr. Karen.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I offer ordinance number 6, 2020 for its third reading. Ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance establishing section 618.16 of the codified ordinances of the City of Norton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Just to clarify, this is concerning dogs being allowed in the park area during special events. And at this time, I'd like to move to adopt 6, 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 6, 2020. Is there any further discussion? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. It is now 7:15. We're going to move back to our public hearing section of the agenda.
Last one.
7:15. All right. Back to the public hearings. I now declare the public hearing convened on ordinance number 19, 2020. Ordinance number 19, 2020 is an ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel number 46-04712 in the city from a B1 district to an R1 district. Will the clerk please certify that the public hearing was advertised on January 25th, 2020?
I hereby certify that the legal notice for this public hearing was published in the Norton Post on January 25th, 2020, and that notices to all of the contiguous property owners were mailed on January 22nd, 2020.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said resolution? If so, please step forward, give your name and address to the stenographer. You'll have 5 minutes to speak. For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said resolution? If so, please step forward, give your name and address to the stenographer. You'll have 5 minutes. Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the resolution? I now declare the public hearing closed on ordinance number 19, 2020. I now declare the public hearing convened on ordinance number 20, 2020. Ordinance number 20, 2020 is an ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel numbers 46-08000, 46-08001, 46-08002, 46-04438, 46-04439, 46-03581, 46-02627, 46-08662, and 46-03582 in the city from an R1 district to an I1 district. Will the clerk please certify that the public hearing was advertised on January 25th, 2020?
I hereby certify that the legal notice for this public hearing was published in the Norton Post on January 25th, 2020, and that notices to all of the contiguous property owners were mailed on January 22nd, 2020.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said resolution? If so, please step forward to the microphone, give your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak in favor. For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said resolution? Please step forward, give your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes. For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against? I now declare the public hearing closed on ordinance number 20, 2020. I now declare the public hearing convened on ordinance number 21, 2020. Ordinance number 21, 2020 is an ordinance rezoning property described as permanent parcel number 46-02907 in the city from an R3 RPC district to an I1 district. Will the clerk please certify that the public hearing was advertised on January 25th, 2020?
I hereby certify that the legal notice for this public hearing was published in the Norton Post on January 25th, 2020, and that notices to all of the contiguous property owners were mailed on January 22nd, 2020.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said resolution? Please step forward, give your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes. For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said resolution? Please step forward, give your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes. For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the resolution? I now declare the public hearing closed on ordinance number 21, 2020. I now declare the public hearing convened on resolution 23, 2020. Resolution number 23, 2020 is a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 3580 South Hametown Road in an agricultural district. Will the clerk please certify that the public hearing was advertised on February 1st of 2020?
I hereby certify that the legal notice for this public hearing was published in the Norton Post on February 1st, 2020, and that a certified notice was mailed to the applicant.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said resolution? Please step forward, give your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes. I finally have a taker. All right.
Sold.
Yeah.
George, a.k.a. Tom Blankenship. I reside at 3220 Reimer Road with my wife, Teresa. On the way over here, I was telling my wife, last time we did this, I did this, and this time she should do it. So you can see who runs the show in our house. Basically, the farm is just a wonderful spot. I'm not sure if anyone knows where this is, but it's, I can honestly say now, it's been 45 years in our family. Wow. And it's a beautiful place that we enjoy. And during the spring, we set up a bench so the neighbors can sit there and watch the deers in the farm grazing in the springtime. And during the winter time, we do have a few people that I do allow to bow hunt back there. And they just come back and express the joy they have of being back in those places. They don't have to go to southern Ohio, that they're just local. And it's just a pleasurable place to have. The farmer we have on it now has done an outstanding job and just a really good job, and we're looking to expand the lower portion of one of the fields, probably another 15 acres. We're hoping possibly this year, but with Mother Nature and the weather, we can only do so much. But anyway, the farm is it's an exceptional farm area, and as you all know, farming in Summit County is getting rare. And it's our hope that we can continue with this as the time goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for the said resolution?
Jim Lino, 5058 Grove Avenue. I would like to speak for it. We have a lot of our land now is starting to get developed. Even the golf courses now are getting developed. And even our metro parks now are turning into industrial parks. Now, I realize that we got to have places to live. We got to have places to work. And we have a little spot in the middle of town for recreation. But personally, I like food. So that's why I'm for it.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution?
Yes, Mr. President. I've always advocated for maintaining our agricultural districts throughout Norton whenever possible. Nothing's changed. I still advocate for that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for the resolution? For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the resolution? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said resolution? Please step forward, give your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes. For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the resolution? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the resolution? I now declare the public hearing closed on resolution number 23, 2020. All right, we're going to go back into introduction of new legislation to resolution number 23, 2020. Mr. Gaynor, that was the first one that we skipped.
Yes, could I offer 23-2020 for its first, or third? Which is
First.
First, yeah. Reading, please. Ask the clerk to read it.
A resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 3580 South Hametown Road in an agricultural district.
Thank you. First reading.
Thank you.
Does it,
Don't we need to pass?
do we have to do 3 readings on this?
I thought we had a time
I mean, it's
element.
it's a renewal. There's no sense in making them late.
I mean, if you want to suspend the rules, you can suspend the rules.
We do.
It's not like rezoning where you have to have 3 readings,
Correct.
in other words.
No, that's correct.
We can
Yes.
suspend the
You have
rules.
the option to waive readings if you want. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Gaynor,
Yes.
could I get you to,
If we can do that, that's fine with
Yep.
me. Suspend them and have the second and third reading.
All right, so I need a formal motion to suspend the
I-
second
I
reading,
make
second,
that
third
motion.
readings.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to waive the second and third readings of resolution number 23, 2020. Is there any discussion regarding suspension only? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
Make the motion to adopt.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 23, 2020. Is there any further discussion?
I think 45 years farming is impressive. I hope you guys can do it for at least that long again. Very nice.
Any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Then on to the back sheet, ordinance number 7, 2020. Mr. Pelot?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer ordinance number 7, 2020 for its third reading and ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to amend sections 1040.02C and 1040.02E of the codified ordinances of the City of Norton and declaring an emergency.
This has to do with setting the access charges based on the size of the pipe coming into your home for water and sewer, or water. This time, I will move to adopt ordinance number 7, 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 7, 2020. Is there any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Public service announcements, Mayor Zita?
Not at this time, thank you.
All right, then moving into new business. At this time, I move to enter into executive session to discuss employment matters as defined in ORC Section 121.22 G1 and Section 3.121 of the Norton City Charter, and to consider confidential information related to economic development assistance as defined in Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G8.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second to enter into executive session. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
At this time, I would like to invite Mayor Zita, Mr. Fowler, Mr. Messner, and Mr. Markey to attend. There will be no legislative action tonight resulting from this executive session. Discussion in council will return to the regular council meeting after the executive session. Note to all attendees here, while council is in executive session, the audio and video is recording live and uninterrupted. If you do not want your conversations recorded, please exit the council chambers. All right, we are in executive session.
Okay, sure.
off.
All we're signing is just.
I give it a taste. I love to hear the farm. Like the other job.
So basically, on Wednesday, I'll be here and
Yeah,
yeah, that's.
I'll do it all normal
No,
and
that's
stuff.
fine. Yeah, I know that had to go tonight, so it'll go tonight and it'll get it overnight or in the morning and it'll be ready to go. So, thank you.
My pleasure.
Typically, when there's no legislative action to happen after that, do they usually just come back and adjourn?
Yes.
Okay.
He gavels out. That's it.
Okay, cool.
You don't need to stay.
All right, I wasn't sure. Usually I know the school board meetings, they'll announce if they're going to do anything, but I wasn't sure if they were going to come back and have some sort of discussion.
No, he said that.
No, yeah, he said no legislative action, but I wasn't sure if they were going to come back here and discuss anything, or if that was usually just. Okay.
They never do.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I shouldn't say that.
But in this particular instance.
If they're going to do something, they'll hold the executive beginning.
Okay.
And then they'll come back in and stuff.
Like they did the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew that we had an executive session, but I couldn't find it. So was that January? Did you start?
Yeah, that was the last meeting in January, which I think was the 27th, I believe. Yeah, it was that.
Huh, okay.
Well, have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks for your help.
Hello. Pretty cute, huh? Yeah. The Mullins duo. It's like, yeah. But, you know, we're starting to like get more people. Like, I'm not sure how long. This is like a year. So. Well, it goes out from like when I drop off, you know, it's an assembly line. They've got cars, they've got big bins and volunteers to help them. But it's.
So it's for all of Suffolk County?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, when we do the pajamas and books at Christmas, that's primarily for Northern and Rutherford. Yes, I think they do. I know they do a big Santa thing.
Yeah. When our kids were little, we used to bring them over because we live where there's no sidewalks. So we always brought them over.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. can do that. King. D King. At Summit. OH done. D
gave you the one, didn't I?
Yes. And it's been sent. You?
I know.
Happy birthday to you.
Let's go, Jack.
All right, returning from executive session, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.
One more thing.
I'm about to freeze to death.
Probably not.
Some of those can last.
Okay.
I'm coming down.
I never asked you that.
I've got to reschedule a haircut. I just
For me?
realized that I was thinking.
Do you have any in the Bahamas?
Any what?
Never do those holidays, so I gotta
Bank
pay
accounts
attention.
in the Bahamas?
No, I do not. All mine are in the Caymans.
Caymans.